In our springtime-induced enthusiasm to plant our favorite vegetables and flowers, culinary herbs are often an afterthought. But stick around to find out how to incorporate them into your garden. Come on, let's go. Hey, how you doing? On behalf of the Square Foot Gardening Foundation, I'm Rick Bickling, the How To Gardener. You know, having a variety of fresh culinary herbs right outside your kitchen that you can snip off for a recipe makes them some of the most rewarding and tasty things you can grow in your square foot garden. You know, when you compare the yield per square foot, less costs, against the cost per pound at the grocery store, herbs are far and away the highest value crop you can grow and provide the greatest return on investment. Think about how much each of those little jars of herbs cost. They can be planted in your garden, out in your landscape, or even in containers. Spring is the best time to plant them, but if you have an empty spot in your garden, go ahead and plant one there now. Most herbs are readily available as transplants from your local garden center, but can also be grown from seed. Remove the transplant from its container and place it even with a soil level. They typically prefer full sun, are easily grown when planted in well-drained soil that is rich in organic matter, and prefer to be kept moist. Herbs should be picked just before the plant starts to bloom, when the leaves are still young and tender. As the plant matures, its flavor and aroma become less intense. Only snip off the leaves or stems that you really need at any given time by not removing all the foliage at once and trimming off any flowers that may form to help prevent bolting. Herbs will continue to produce over a long period of time. Herbs can be dried as a means of preserving and storing them for later use. They can be dried using a dehydrator, by hanging them in loosely tied bundles, or even using a microwave oven. Be sure to keep herbs separated while drying them, as they may pick up the flavor of the herb drying next to them. When air drying, hang the small bundles upside down in a cool, dark, well-ventilated room, never in direct sun. Cover the bundles with cheesecloth to keep dust from collecting while still allowing moisture to pass through. Herbs are done drying when the leaves easily crumble in your hands. Once the herbs are completely dried, store them in small, tightly sealed jars in a cool, dark place. They can be stored as whole leaves or crushed depending on your preference. Be sure to label each jar. Here are a few of the herbs that I grow in my garden that you may want to consider. Basil. Its leaves are used in soups, stews, salads, omelets, and tomatoes or tomato sauces. Try some fresh basil in a homemade pizza. Rosemary. Its leaves are used as flavoring on lamb, pork, and wild game, or in stuffing, sauces, and soups. Sage. Its leaves are used in seasoning for meats and sausages and in herbal teas. Sage is what gives that unique flavor to the turkey stuffing at Thanksgiving. Oregano. Its subtly sweet, yet savory flavor is great sprinkled over homemade pizza, in a flavorful marinade, or in a hearty soup. Parsley, use it as a garnish, or chop up some fresh leaves and sprinkle it on some boiled potatoes. Lavender is grown for its beautiful and fragrant flowers. Thyme can be used in soups, salads, dressings, omelets, gravies, breads, or on vegetables. Use chives on omelets, salads, soups, sauces, dips, and of course on a baked potato. Mint, use the leaves in summer drinks, tea, or mint sauce. Dill, use its leaves in sauces, dips, and on fish, and as a flavoring. One of the best uses for dill is as a sacrificial host for the black swallowtail butterfly in its caterpillar stage. You'll lose your dill, but save the rest of your garden, and you'll end up with some beautiful butterflies at the end. So if you haven't already, plant some herbs in your square foot garden. You'll be glad you did, as you enjoy their fresh flavor. And for some really good information on growing tomatoes, check out my video up here.